Okay, for the meat of this episode, we're going to be talking about our favorite podcasts that you could be listening to right now instead of this one. Although I would hate for that to happen, but these are some great podcasts, so I couldn't blame you. So we're going to talk about a couple this week, and then we're going to talk about our very favorite ones next week. Let's get started. So the first podcast we're going to talk about Serial. Now, if you know anything about podcasts, you have probably heard of Serial, but I'm just saying it because it really is one of the best podcasts ever released. In fact, this is the podcast that got podcasts on the map. I believe the host was even on Jimmy Fallon because the podcast got that popular. It followed a guy named Adnan Syed. He was convicted of killing his ex-girlfriend, Heyman Lee. But the case and the evidence and so many things were just kind of funky. Like, it really never felt right. She just basically investigated she investigated this person for several episodes, episode after episode, just bringing new information, new leads, new people. And it was just a wild ride of, did he do it or did he not? So, Mikey, how'd you feel about Serial?
So for me, like, that was one of the first few podcasts that I actually listened to. And at first I was kind of skeptical about it, but after listening for a couple episodes, you become enthralled in it. You have to listen to it and listen to what Adnan's saying, listen to what the investigator's saying, and really listen to the stories. But the whole case, you're trying to determine whether Adnan did it or not. I never felt that moment where I understood that the case proved him to be guilty and why he was convicted. It's such an interesting story to listen to, and it really captivates you.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. And yeah, I mean, that was the really interesting to me, is that nothing in the case, like, it's amazing how little it took to get him locked up. Like, there was a lot of circumstantial stuff, but as you guys listen to the podcast, you will get to see that and experience that for yourself. So it's definitely a wild ride. There are definitely some suggestive themes in here, so please, don't listen to it while you have young ears around if you do decide you want to check it out. But it's definitely a really riveting podcast. One thing about Serial is, I would say, start off with the first season. That's the season where they follow Adnan Syed. And if you like it, go to the second season. But I'll be honest, the second season's not as good. There are actually some other podcasts I'd recommend over the second season. One we'll talk about in a second. So yeah, and by the way, it's Serial with an S at the beginning. I thought it was like a bowl of cereal, and that's not right.
So definitely not.
Serial with an S.